Five, four, three.
Everyone. Welcome to the Melanated Game Kitchen. This is the Culture Bytes Red Velvet Visions Jam. My name is Mac, and I'm out here in Tokyo.
Hi, I'm Bearcat. I'm out here in Redmond. Happy to push buttons for Mac.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you for joining us. So this is the fifth edition for the Culture Bytes Game Jam series. If you hear, you probably already know about the jam, but Culture Bytes is an ongoing series of jams organized by the Melanated Game Kitchen. Jam series is aimed at creating unique interactive experiences under the context of the African diaspora over a 1 to 2 week period. So basically, what we want to do is that we want to be able to create melanated content and curate it for future participants and also people who want to enjoy that kind of content. So right now we are, let's see, I think we have maybe 1 or 2 teams, maybe one team, but yeah, we're really excited to have everyone here. Thank you for joining us. And just to speak really lightly on the red velvet, why food? And so one of the things that we wanted to do is that we wanted to make sure that each theme, culture bites, is about the culture and about what brings us together. And food was a very easy choice. So this time around, we got red velvet, right? Get that red velvet cake. And so actually, I also kind of did a small game jam, but with baking. And just like game jams, they're very unpredictable. So I wanted to create, a red velvet cake. This was the final product. So it's, as you can see, it's definitely not really a cake, but it's still pretty good. Um, so but yeah, it's just, that's kind of how game jams are. You come together with people you don't really know, you don't know what kind of skill sets you have, and you just try your best to make a finished product within a limited time. So now Burr is just kind of showing you the HIO page. And so you can, once the game is submitted, you can kind of check it out, play for it, and so yeah, that's kind of the culture bites in a nutshell. So let's see. Do you know if the teams are ready yet?
Uh, I don't see anyone in the waiting room, or I don't see anyone in any of the voice chats. So I don't know if we have someone to kind of speak on the game that was submitted.
We have Dave.
Oh, Dave. Oh, we do have Dave. Okay, cool. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, cool. So let's transition. Yeah. Dave, if you want to give a quick intro for yourself, and then Oh,
Speaking, Dave, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
yes, we can. Yes.
Okay, cool. Mic was in the wrong setting.
Howdy, howdy. Welcome.
Hey,
Oh,
welcome.
oh, here, hold on. Let me turn the camera on. See my icon is up here. Um, oh, I can't turn the camera on. Okay, never mind.
No
Oh,
worries, no
right, because
worries.
I'm not. Never mind. Stretch the camera because my camera's on my other computer. So, anyway, so yeah, so we made a game Uh, about actually, let me check and see because we were so busy working on the game that I never got to see what the title was.
According to your itch.io page, which is on the screen, it is Cafe de la Soul, which is one of my favorite rap groups.
Yeah. So okay. So you didn't end up going with that name because before it was just called Afro Tapper. So
Okay.
so basically the way the game works is it is similar to the if you ever play the game Tapper, where you slide the drinks across the bar. In this game, you are playing um as a I believe it is an based on the story, it is an android powered by that was turned on by these two kids that are working in this cafe, and it is a cafe in outer space where you are serving customers various dishes. So actually, it shows all the dishes at the top of the page. If you scroll up, you'll see. Let's see. So right now, I see the red velvet cake. Um, it's a red velvet cake. It is. There's like a space blue pudding. It's kind of like a flan. So it's like more like the Japanese type puddings. We've got the Astro pancakes, where they're purple. We've got boba tea, which is a callback to one of our programmer Bria, because she's making a game. She made a game called Boba Story. So there's boba tea and a churro and a green cupcake, or a purple and green cupcake. So basically, what happens is you send the the customers come in, and there's like 2 or 3 or 4 different lanes depending on what level you're on, and you have to send them the right dish down the conveyor belt, which are tastefully called electric slides, because the food is sliding down on an electric conveyor belt. So um that's basically how the game is set up.
Okay.
So we kind of came up with that just based off Tapper, because we were talking about like, okay, we should like serve food in like this sort of cyberspace cafe, except it's not cyber, it's in outer space. So we're trying to serving food in this space cafe, to various customers.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you wanna. Oh yeah, there's all the
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we do have some screenshots as well as the video you took.
Yep.
But I just want to say, like, I really like the theme, especially for this game jam. I didn't mention it, but the one of the themes is Afrofuturism. So, just thinking about everyday life in, outer space, right? I think that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and that's something that we were super excited about. Because you see like like for example, this character here was done by Scott P. He did some really cool pixel art. He did we wanted to kind of focus on a lot of stuff that is um like what's the word, like a positive future, um based on the African diaspora, and where that could go, and like a lot of what that could look like, because there's a lot of sci-fi stuff you don't really see that.
Hmm.
It's like very dark, or like post-apocalyptic, but it's like not too much good, not too many like good things going on. And
Hmm.
we're doing a lot of looking at like back in like the 70s, where they had a lot of like soul and funk and stuff like that. And it talked about two of the things that come to mind is like Sun Ra. uh uh we recently talking about him, and his his contribution to the movement, or I guess it's starting it. And then what's the other one? Mothership Connection by Parliament, I believe. So we kind of like take a look at those as well. All right, so this is the video. I think it's a video. Yeah.
No, I only have screenshots.
No. Oh, that's a screenshot. Where's the? There
You
should be a
guys,
YouTube. There should be a YouTube video on there.
Okay, yeah, let me check.
There should be a YouTube video on. I know I put one on there. Does it not show up if it's not listed?
I guess what do you mean
No,
by
it should,
listed?
Like, so I uploaded the video.
it should show up.
I uploaded the video on the channel. I mean, I uploaded the video just on my YouTube channel, but I put it as unlisted. But then I put the link in there.
You might have to list
It
it.
should still show up as long
Or
as it's,
yeah, you can send
live.
the link to us in the co-work text. I can open it up.
Bam. All right, so come over here in the co-work text, and I'll just put it up here. Bop.
There you go.
Cool.
You got it. I believe in you.
Thank you. All right.
And,
Yeah, there it is.
All right, so there should be sound, but I don't know.
it's coming through in the on the
On YouTube.
live stream. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So,
It's very jazzy.
yeah, so I did a lot of the I did like all the music and stuff, and was really kind of going for that sort of like a mix of like funk, maybe a bit of like hip hop, kind of mixing all those things together. And we kind of wanted to have all the sounds that you do kind of contribute to the song. Originally we wanted everything to be on rhythm, but that didn't end up happening, but that's okay. Yeah, as you can see, when they get their food, you clean the table off, and like more people come in, and there's like various levels. So like right now there's only 3 lanes, and on the next one there's 4 lanes, and I don't do so hot. On this one, I don't do so hot. As you'll see, it's like it starts getting pretty intense.
I mean, I think that's just the nature of working in a restaurant, which is a beautiful concept to make a game off of.
It's
'cause
true.
Like, you have to deal with the people, the food, and your coworkers. And I wish we would have got to the point where we could have added like the twins, because like the more and more I think about it, I was like, man, maybe the twins should have like put the food down and she'd go and scoop it up. But granted we only had 2 weeks to make the game, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, because Scott P wrote this really cool story about like how the kids went down. There's these little kids that went down in the basement because they're supposed to like help open up the cafe, but they went down in the basement and saw like this. So the character you play is, huh?
Let me take it from here. I got
Okay,
it.
all right.
So in the story, basically these 2 little kids go downstairs and they're going to go get the dishes for the restaurant. But the grandmother is upstairs and she's really like one of those like, don't break my dishes, don't touch my stuff. Just get what I want and come back up here. And so they're down there, screwing around, and they accidentally find this giant tarp. And when they take the tarp down, it's this huge like fighter plane mech. And they're like, whoa, okay, what is this? So they start fumbling around like kids do, and they touch the button, and then whoosh, it comes alive. It's like, okay, I'm a fighter plane, I'm a mech, I'm ready to go shoot some stuff. And they're like, whoa, chill, hold on. It's way after the war. This is solar punk era. Everybody's cool right now. And so like, now the mech is out of place. It doesn't know what to do anymore. So it's like, okay, let me just transform into something different. Now in my mind, I wanted it to be like a conventional oven. But just for purposes, I transformed it into Sister, which is, if you've ever seen the movie What Men Think, I think that's the title of it, with Taraji P. Henderson. Erykah Badu plays this character called Sister, and I was like, cool, perfect. I want this to be the main character in the game because Erykah Badu is cool, and I'm gonna give her a robot arm. And so they take her back up to the cafe, and she's the main character in this game. And currently she's sliding across the table, but we did have an animation that didn't make it where she had like this purple crank arm that would actually go and get the food. But I think Bree did a fantastic job with the amount of time that we had.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I just like the way the characters like kind of dance around. I like the yeah, kind of like lottery of it.
It looks pretty intense because like when Dave came in with the sound effects, though, that was cool because I was like, oh, it's got the whole little Mario Kart like item select, but it's not you getting it, it's them. It's like now you got to wait for them to pick the item.
There was actually one point where the little digga like it was like it was like some drum sounds, like a drum roll, but it became very hectic because every time customers come in, you hear the digga.
Oh
yeah. And it's like sounding like people like banging on the table. I'm like, man, this is irate people.
Yeah, but that happens in real life. You know, sitting somewhere. If you live close to a Waffle House, you know what it is. Somebody comes in and they all irate, and sometimes you go to Waffle House because you pay for the experience, not the food. But we don't have any fights in our game. It's all positive. It's all celebratory.
Darn.
Why you over there sounding disappointed?
Yeah, darn.
Well, I mean, that would have been a nice feature. I mean, but hey, think about it in the future.
Okay.
You can use the clown to like just push the customer out. You get out.
Yeah, that's Cafe Tribe Called Quest or something like that. That's the next one. the Nature Brothers Cafe or something. So
I do have a question for I got a question for Dave though. So Dave, when did you make the music? Did you make it like before you saw the art, or did you when exactly did you start making the music?
I don't think the art was there by the time I made the music. I made it probably at the beginning of like week 2. So I saw the sprites and I was like, okay, but I kind of knew I wanted to, because at first the song was an entirely different song, but I made it near the beginning of the week, and I'll say on the music front, I like how the way the chord progression is. This gets like real crazy into music stuff, but it's like I didn't want it to sound like super happy or super mellow, because it's like it's get this upbeat feel, because Tim was asking, he was saying like, okay, we like do something more like with a groove, and then the way the chord progression is kind of sounds like, I'm trying to find a way to describe it. Like the way the chord progression is kind of sounds like, oh boy, there's something happening here.
Yeah, I would say it's like kind of like there's like a slight driving force, It's not like it's not overtly neutral, I feel like there's some momentum, but it does a good job of resetting itself too.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm just looking at the video now because like literally I had to wake up and drink some water and put my brain back in my head.
Sure.
It's very early where I'm at right now. It's like 9 a.m. But like just like working with Bree like for the first time, and just like knowing that she has a very good history of like with Boba Story, and seeing how she took like basically the mechanics from her game and just like, okay, we're gonna do it like this. So kind of honestly, I think like Bree kind of took like the helm. Like she was like, all right, I'm driving the ship. Like like Scott, go up there and hoist the sail so we can get out of here. I'm like, all right, cool.
She definitely get MVP.
Yeah, she definitely gets the MVP award.
Dave has done game jams before, but how about you, Scott? Is this your first one, or?
Yeah. This is my first game jam like ever, and like I was sitting on a bunch of unused assets, and I was just like, okay, well, a lot of this stuff I can just like plop in, it's ready to go. But then it's a couple stuff in there I had to make like originally from scratch. The tables. Actually, there's some new tables I was hoping they were gonna get in, but it didn't happen because of time. But when it was, it's amazing when you work in a team. And it's just like, okay, we need this. I don't have that, but the luxury of being a designer or creator is like, okay, I can fake it till I make it. I guess like I know I think I
Mhm.
could draw a table. It worked out, but it's cool because you got to like plan your imagination and um for people who don't know, I live in Tokyo, so the concept of like kaiten sushi, which is conveyor belt sushi, like it's something I've seen before,
Mhm.
on several different occasions. So I know how it works, but just trying to change it just for the game. And it's the funny thing is now I look at the conveyor belt sushi places a little bit differently because I'm like, man, they should be more like our game. They should play better
I
music.
bet. We
Play
gotta
better
do it. We
music.
gotta do it, Scott.
And and Mac, they can have a couple altercations just for you.
Oh, thank you. They spice it up. Oh, but I like that a lot. The Can you guys tell us a little bit about the engine and kind of like what were some challenges you had like implementing things?
Um, okay, so I'm the person who didn't do any programming whatsoever, so I'm gonna try to like absorb the essence of Bria and say that we do have a kindred spirits because she's on Mac, so I'm pretty she did everything in Unity. If I'm wrong, Bria, I'm sorry, but I know she did everything in Unity, and then working with her was just like, okay, she's like, I need X, Y, and Z, and I need it at this size. And I'm like, all right, cool. And sometimes I'd send it, and it'd be the wrong size, and I have to send it again. So it worked, and she was actually really, really fast. Like I don't know how much of the code that she already had it, but if she didn't, it was a miracle. And I think
Okay, so
one of the only problems was David. Was it the codecs or something for the music? But you guys fixed it though.
Hold on, I was stuffing food in my face. So what was happening with the music? So like I said, we originally wanted to have the game like have all the sounds be on sync with each other. And the way that you do that is something like audio middleware. Usually it's like WYs or Fmod or Elias Music System or something. But our thought was like we want to make this like Bria wanted to try to make it a WebGL game. Because that's one of the cool things about game jams, is the chance to try new things. So with WebGL games, none of the audio middleware works. They just don't have them as a target for a build. They don't have a build target for WebGL. So it was like, okay, no, there's no audio syncing at all. Like, so when I say that, if anybody's played like Tetris Effect or Lumines or Rez or Child of Eden, any of those games, they all have like all the sound effects are always on beat. They always like sync up to like the beat. So at every button you push, the game like snaps it to the rhythm of the song. So we wanted to do that, but since there's no audio middleware, for a second, me and the other Scott were trying to figure like we were like going through all these like different like formulas. Like, okay, well, we can get the sample. Like Unity reveals like the sample rate of the audio file. So like where a game goes at like 60 frames per second, an audio file usually goes at 44,100 frames or samples per second. So you can get a lot more accuracy with it. And since Unity reveals those to the programmer, we're like, okay, so if we divide that by if we divide the BPM of the song by 60 and multiply that by the sample rate, we can actually get the quarter measure and all these. But we never had time to try to test a lot of that, and who knows, it still wouldn't have worked anyway. And all of that stuff I just explained is moot because it turns out in Unity 2020, which we were using, apparently building for WebGL, unless you do something like specific, just building for WebGL out of the box is broken. So you just can't do it, which is why the game does not run in WebGL. It runs in Windows and Mac, which means you could have used Wise. So that's great. But yeah, those are some of our challenges.
That's um I don't know. It's always just like you said, when you're in the game jam, you're just meeting people for the first time. You don't know what to expect, right? And even if you
Mhm.
have expectations, as soon as a limitation kind of comes around, you kind of have to either try it for maybe a few hours or just forget it because you're under tight time constraints. And so, you guys, how was it working in an all digital team? I know Scott, being in Japan, right? The difference in the time zones. How did that affect the collaborative efforts?
Uh, Sometimes it was heavenly, and sometimes it sucked. Um, like because just different types of the day or night, and then like you know on my behalf, like sometimes my friends are over here and they're like sitting here watching me over my shoulder, like make this game with our team, and like just having like everyday conversations with my friends and the team at the same time. So it's not like really like true work hours for me, but it was fun. Like we had some really good conversations. Like yesterday, was that yesterday? See, that's the whole thing. Like I'm always a day ahead.
Uh,
Me and
it
Dave
was
had a
this morning
great
for me.
yeah, we had a great conversation about like just how Japan has like these like synchronous cues. Like anywhere you are during the day, you'll hear like a certain chime, and that chime actually means something. And we were just talking about like how to implement things like this into the game, and just because like respectively, even if you're in America, everybody's in different places in America, so you can take little bits from your environment and put it into your game.
I hear you. I like that a lot. And then Dave, can you remind me where you based at?
Oh, I'm in Ohio.
Okay. And then
Like you
for
meant.
mm-hmm.
No, that's it. That's it. I'm in
Okay.
Ohio.
And then for you, like, Scott was saying, like in Japan, we have different chimes at different hours. Like at I think like 5 p.m. there's a chime to let kids know, hey, time to, go home.
Yeah, yeah.
In Minnesota, like every first Wednesday, we have a tornado siren to let us know, like, hey, this is working. But in Ohio, yeah, I know, right? It's a thing.
I
It's
mean, but you need it,
that
right? You're like, hey, what's that? That's a tornado bill. The fuck?
but people who aren't used to that, right? They get really alarmed, like, oh my God, something major is happening. And it's like, oh, no one else is running. But it's like, yeah, it's just a part of the culture now for Minnesotans. And so for Dave, like in Ohio, like, what's your thing?
Uh, hmm. Let me see. I'm trying to think of some sound or something that happens because nothing really like jumps out to me as like, oh, this is like some design thing that is useful. Um, and I kind of wish they had that to say something such as, oh, this is when the last set of trains are coming, or
Mm.
this is when these things are happening, or this like the mall's about to close, so it's gonna play this. Like they don't do any of those things as far as I know. They don't do any of those things. And I kind of wish they did. So I'm actually myself. I don't know who knows and who doesn't know. I'm visually impaired, so I play a lot off sound cues, and I try to implement them. I try to implement them wherever, whatever, and whatever I do. So that's like, ding. All right, this is this thing happening, or that sounds very distinct from this one, so that you know when this is going on. Um, so I pay really close attention to those kind of things, and I don't think we have something like that. When I used to work at this one place, there was a fire station, and I don't think they even test the sirens. I think I would just hear like call outs when they would be like trying to contact someone or reach someone. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting aspect that you mentioned about like accessibility. And so this is, and I won't talk too much about Japan, but um, for in Japan, a lot of the things are some things are better than others, but for example, right, like the when you're crossing the street and the signal light turns, there's actually like a beeping noise, like a laser almost, to help people who are visually impaired, find their way across the street. In train stations on the platform, there's like not braille. I don't want to say braille, but there's like, what would you
That's
call that, Scott?
Braille, braille for your
No, but
feet.
it's on the floor though,
real for your
like.
feet.
Yeah, braille for your feet.
It's like tactile. It's like those tactile. Yeah, we do have those. We do have those. Yeah, when you mention it, we have that, and we have some of the crosswalks. They do have like beep beep, and then it's also like it's
Yes.
time. It's a safe time to cross now. You can cross now. Um, and then on the buses they'll have now I'm thinking about like a bunch of little ones. I guess I got so used to them I didn't even just kind of edit them out. But yeah, the buses will say all the stops when you get close to them, or sometimes when you get right up on them. But they'll say like next stop is Taylor Road, or next stop is Windermere Station. So yeah, they do have stuff for that, like, or when you like pull the bus, or you can hear when somebody's pulling like the bus cord because it's like ding. So yeah, there are little things. It's not as synchronized as Japan is. Like there's no like little like musical jingle when the train stops or anything like that. Although they do have stuff like that in Washington D.C. because I interned there for some time and they have stuff like that there. But yeah, there are like little like audio indicators and other tactile indicators that I think come from games and I think can actually be implemented into games.
Yeah, that's what's up. And so I guess let me that'll bring me to my next topic. So we're talking about, Afrofuturism, and I feel like, accessibility, right, would be a big component of it. So for you guys, right, making games, in the future, like how do you envision, a more accessible like future for like, sense?
Dave, you want to go first?
Sure. So one thing I think of, two games that come to mind right now, so like extending from the present, is The Last of Us Part 2 and Insomniac's accessibility system, because it's in a couple different of their games. So like Spider-Man Miles Morales. I played Spider-Man on PS4 when it first came out. I played it for 5 minutes and then stopped because like the icons were very small and all this other stuff. But one thing I noticed is like companies like Sony or Nintendo, they have all these like little like gimmicks in their controls, like, oh, we've got adaptive triggers and haptic feedback and motion sensor gyroscope, whatever's. And Insomniac used that in such a great way in the controllers because it has stereo vibration, so you can feel very like small taps on the controller when something happens, or when something is nearby. In case you can't hear it or in case you can't see it, you can feel it. So I think the way that game technology is going with the amount of feedback that it can give you, not just visually and audibly, you can give a lot more in-depth feedback to the person. And then even with the way, like, so with audio, they have like the ray traced audio stuff. So it's a lot more, the audio is a lot more accurate than it used to be. And even with the way like ray traced lighting and all that stuff is, I think that we have not tapped into the full use of what it can be right now. Like right now, it's just like it's ray traced lighting, everything is reflective, which actually does the opposite of making things accessible because it makes things really confusing. But I think if we are really clever with it, we can do we can use it for like we can use it and do like lighting and all sorts of like other crazy tricks to um help people play the games with like even with like navigation systems and finding different objects and items in a fully in a fully 3D open world game where a completely blind person can play or a completely deaf person can play it or I mean or a person who's quadriplegic could play it with like different types of control inputs and like remapping and stuff like that. So I think that's with the advancements in technology, it's really not so it's about the advancements in technology, but it's about how it's used.
Yes.
It's about how it's used in the games.
I like that. Great answer.
So hold on, let me get the question one more time. Cause they got me
In
looking at my
regards
controller real funny.
But yeah, it really does get you thinking, right? About, unless you are kind of in need for more accessibility or you have a need for something, those things don't really click in your head of like, oh, I'm good or I don't really need to implement this feature. So it's good that it's brought up because it is something where especially like marginalized groups, melanated people, right? We kind of don't have a sense of Afrofuturism, right? Like we can't even get through like daily struggles, so it's really hard for us to really think about so far out, in the future for that. So, but the question was basically in regards to Afrofuturism, what are some how do you, I guess, yeah, how do you envision the future, Scott? Like, what's something you can do to add to your games to really embody that kind of theme?
Add black people, like as many as possible. I mean, I think that's just like the first thing you got to do. Because I mean, if we're not even there in the forefront, like we don't exist. Like we got to create the games and create like something that will create history. Once it's there, it's there. And to go further into the future, well, I mean, sky's is the limit. I mean, we do have a rich history. You do have to do some research. So like with this game and like the theme being Afro punk, I mean, sorry, Afrofuturism. It was amazing because had to dig in and look at certain characters and look at them as in a different light. Like for example, Blizzard Overwatch has a character named Orisha. And I was like, okay, I knew about the goddess, and I knew that that character was made by a little like child prodigy. But I was like, wow, man, like I can use something like that, and like even like if you look really closely at the characters design, I mean, we all know Blizzard's going through its things, but for them to actually sit down and make a character that's based off an African deity and give her like those kind of features and everything, and I was like wow. And then I have to look at the other character, which is like Doomfist, who's a Nigerian like warlord prince. I mean, but it's still a part of like Afrofuturism. Yes, part of it will be you know good, and then some of it will be bad. As long as there's progression, there has to be both. Unless like a son dies and then we all gone and it don't matter no more.
Bad.
But 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 first and foremost, I think the key thing is we gotta start here, be the change, so we can make sure that we're there later.
Like that. We have to be the change so that we make sure that we can be there later. I like that. All right. Quote. I'm a put this on replay. All right. Um, Thank you, Scott. Great answer. And so for Burr, how much time do we got?
Uh, I mean, whenever really. It's since we've got the one submission, so.
Okay, okay. Um, and I have one more question, but do we have anyone in the stream that have asked any questions?
No, we were talking about different uh rap names or like cafe rap names, and so like Cafe Outcast. I mentioned Black Star Cafe.
I
Um,
like yeah, the Black Star Cafe, I like that. I
yeah,
was thinking about that.
the possibilities really are endless here. Like you can really come up with some gems. I think, yeah.
I think mine got shut down though. I said Cafe Fantasy, and then Scott Edwards was just like, "Oh yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire." I was like, "No, I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking Ratchet. I'm thinking like ludicrous. Like, what's your fantasy?"
It's the early 2000s, yes.
Yeah. I think that was like the really cool part because I think like I'm probably the most ratchet ghetto person on our team by far. but we need those spices. We need those spices.
True story. Yep. In that case, then my one question I have is that let's kind of talk. I mean, we talked about like the future of like the culture, the future of accessibility, but food. How do you think food is going to change? You made cafe, surrounding about with food. Do you think how we make the food will change? Or is it just how we deliver the food will be different? You have robots. Here in Japan, we're already living in the future. So they have robot servers handing out food. And so for you guys, what do you guys think is the future for like for food in regards to, Afrofuturism?
Personally, I wanted to take a step back. I mean, with all this stuff with like, GMO seeds and like I didn't like my girl had to tell me, she was just like, like they make fruit that has seeds but doesn't grow any more fruit. And I'm like, that's a dick move. Like, like why would you do that? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know if we can cuss on this, but I was like, wow. So for me personally, I would like Afrofuturism to go back into like nurturing and making nutritional stuff. So like focusing more so on the solar punk thing and like harnessing the power of like just light in general. Because I mean, if we just take a step back from ourselves and just realize like how really small we are in the universe, and the one thing that life as we know it needs is sunlight or some form of light so that photosynthesis can occur. But maybe some in some dark corner of space they just do it in the dark. That sounds nasty, but anyway,
Try
Going from fantasies to
try
this,
try
yeah, but
keep it
but get
PG as possible. I don't know.
yeah,
it's early in the morning for you too, right, Scott?
yeah, it
This
happened.
is
It was a long night last night.
fair. That's fair.
Don't shame me.
No shame. No shaming. No shaming.
But getting back on point, like with food and nourishing and how people like receive food and stuff. I would like for it to take a step back and people like to appreciate like where the food came from and how it's and how it's made, not processed.
Man, that seed
Okay.
thing made me low key mad.
So what?
That seed thing made me low key mad.
Okay, so,
Oh.
uh,
How about you,
yeah.
Gabe?
How about you?
Um, so we were looking up some stuff about like future food. And what was that one thing? As we saw like something called like gastronomy, where it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
where it's like
Oh.
food, where it's like food that is like it's like when you eat it, it's like it's made and it's made from a molecular it's made in like a molecular way or it's has like a molecular formation to it. So it's like it's like you have to eat it in a perfect way. It has to be shaped a perfect way.
Hmm.
And it is not like something that like it doesn't look like normal food. Like I was reading some stuff on Wikipedia like, oh yeah, if it's like a liquid, it has to be like spherical and shiny and round to like to make your mind think about it in a certain way. So it's like this like aesthetic, like this very aesthetic scientific way of doing it. But
Right.
and I was thinking that way, but I really do agree with what Scott just said about, like nature already kind of does all that. Like it already works. So why would we try like instead of trying to go in the opposite direction why don't we move in the like instead of like being like, yeah, it's been done that way, but we're actually like apples should actually be large triangles with rounded corners because that is actually the aesthetically scientific proven. Like, it's like no. So let's say why don't we go in the direction that nature is already going, and um and so like when things when okay, this is slightly outside of food, but like, are you think about like all the stuff we have, like skyscrapers and bridges and all this construction, all this, these like big towering glass metallic futuristic cities. But if we all like poofed off of the planet, or like some crazy event happened, nature's gonna take back over, and then it's just gonna be like trees and grass and stuff all over everything. So it's like the planet always finds a way to reset itself. So it's like, well, why don't we work with technology and food and stuff that we find some kind of way to work with the planet? So maybe it would have to do something with like, I guess this is going kind of scientific, but it's still working like DNA, working with like DNA to make like, it's like here's like an idea, like a refrigerator that could actually grow the fruit inside of it.
What?
Whoa.
Like,
Oh, okay, wow, all right.
Oh, like the next
That's what's up.
evolution of like those towers, yeah, those like farming towers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
so
put
it's-
that. We gotta put that in the game. I need a refrigerator that'll grow like Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
well, you probably don't want that.
What are you talking about? Great idea.
I mean, you. It sounds like it. I mean, hey, everything would be vegan then. So like, it'd be like chicken. So it's like it looked like Chick-fil-A, but it's actually just all like jackfruit and all like natural stuff, and it could just make it in any shape you want. So I think that I think that could be working on a really high scale level with going the direction nature is going, instead of like, we're gonna stop nature and we're going to do it our way, where we like take out the seeds and not grow anything and everything. So yeah.
You mad about that GMO, huh?
I am kind of, because that's like I'm just thinking like, I'm gonna buy some tomatoes from Target or Walmart or whatever, and then you plant the seeds, it's like nothing. It's like, and the corporation's like, ha. And it kind of goes in law with that rule that's like, there's a law that you can't collect rainwater.
That's bogus.
Yeah, apparently it's actually a law in some places, and I'm like, that's stupid. What do you mean? So, that's so.
Is there a reasoning behind that, or
Does America need any reason? I mean, you just got rid of Roe v. Wade.
I mean, I guess they could say. Whoa. I guess they could.
My bad. Not this show.
I guess they could say. I guess they could say like the reason would be like, it's like, there's, ironically, the reason somebody would say like, oh, well, there's so many chemicals in the air, you don't know what's in that water. So instead, buy our perfectly bottled water. You can definitely trust us. So I don't know. I feel like I feel like whatever reason they give is kind of like a bogus reason anyway. And it's like, okay. So you want me to spend $3 on your water that apparently came from some like spring mountain, but we don't really know.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows. Yeah.
It's a crazy world out there. Like, like the thing that just boggles me every day, and they're like, it's a water crisis. I'm like, I'm not that stupid. Sorry, I'm not taking that one. This planet is 70% water, dummy. So there's not a water crisis. You just lying to me.
But that does talk a lot about, our relationship with nature, our relationship with, companies where, just like you said, laws are in place where it's like, oh, don't collect rainwater. Companies have it where, they create fruits or vegetables or fruits without any seeds. But then, then that just creates a vicious cycle of, okay, I have to keep going back to you in order to get what I need. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Those are definitely Oh, so go ahead, Dave.
I was just gonna say they make a problem and then make a solution.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, like the solutions y'all came up with, I think are very Afro futuristic, forward thinking. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that was it for the questions I had. You guys have anything you want to kind of talk about? Is there anything you want to like promote, or I'll give you guys the floor.
Let's see. I know Tim just announced that we're gonna try to have a playtest session for this game. So if anyone wants to sign up for that, he put that in the what channel is this? It's in the general channel. So I know he wants to try to have a playtest for this game. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, that would be really cool. And then you can try to throw pancakes and churros and red velvet cakes at people and see how that feels.
Boba.
And boba tea.
Yeah, boba
In the future, the top never comes off. They're smart cups.
That's what's up. And then I think at this time it might be kind of smart to just shout out everybody on the team: Scott M, Bria, Dave, Tim. Ron came in yesterday for a hot second, and he was like, "All right, check out my afro," and I'm out. But
Check out my everyone.
but yeah, everybody who helped out and at least just conversated in the chat while we were making the game. Appreciate it, and follow all these people on their respective channels. And if you ever got time, check out my stuff because it's all about a ninja with a gold chain. Why not?
That's really just be the slogan. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, and then can you please tell us your team name once more?
Ooh, I gotta look at the chat. It was it Sweet Cyber
I think it was
Cake?
just called Sweet Cyber Cake.
Yeah, Sweet Cyber.
Based off the
Cyber
game.
Cake.
Yeah.
And then the name of your game
Is Cafe de la Soul.
Cafe de la Soul.
Cafe de la Soul. Love it.
AKA, give it to me
once
now.
Again, so once again, thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the game jam. I know this was Scott's first one, so I hope you're not traumatized and you'll come back for the next. And and so before we head out, I just want to say, if this is something that you're interested in, whether you're new, whether you're a veteran, Melanated Game Kitchen is where it's at. And if you want to know more information, you can join the Discord or our newsletter. And this information we posted in the YouTube channel. Is that correct, Burr?
Yep. Yeah, it'll be in the
Okay.
in the description. Yeah. No, nailing it. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So once again, my name is Mac. I'm based in Tokyo, and this is
Fair. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Awesome game. Looking forward to the next jam.
sounds good. All right. Take care, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.